Why, hello, listeners. How's it going?
Hello, hello.
It's Homegrown Nerds yet again for another podcast session.
Welcome back to our chaotic whatever. Shenanigans.
Yeah.
Shenanigans is the word that should be used there. I hate that word so much. It's used too much at work. Anyway.
Your work.
My work, yes. Yeah. We got yelled at for too much shenanigans.
Now, as of this recording, everyone knows the entire gaming debacle of Blizzard, Activision, all them game companies just messing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're not going to do that today. We're going on a lighter note. A few days ago, November 7th was also known as N7 Day for gamers. What's N7 Day, if you're asking this now, is the anniversary and celebration of Mass Effect.
Yep. I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, until I told you a few days ago.
Yes. I have never played any of the Mass Effects.
Well, you're in luck.
You have.
And also, I still have it, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yep. I've been thinking about playing those games. The thing is, I know how I get into games. When I get into a game, I want to complete it. It's the reason why I'm having so much trouble with Kingdom Hearts right now, is because I want to complete it, but there's so much in the final mix version that's just...
Well, whatever you do, don't play Dragon Age Inquisition.
Between synthesizing and all the different mini bosses and side bosses, and I'm pretty much just gonna save, do a separate save file, finish the game, so I could say I finished the game, move on to another game, and maybe come back and complete it later.
You're not the only one. A lot of people do that.
Yes. I digress. N7.
N7.
That's the reason why I haven't played Mass Effect, is because it is one of those games. One, my family was a big Nintendo. We were big into Nintendo for a while, so we didn't have Xbox and PlayStation.
Which is fair, because I didn't have anything but PC at the same time for a long while. But I specifically was late on the train, though.
Yeah?
Because eventually I was able to get a 360, I was playing all these other games, never got Call of Duty. I was looking for one day at a GameStop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this really cool one that I usually go to for most of the games if I want a physical copy, this guy, really cool. And I was asking for like a story base because I was craving a good story.
Yep.
And on the bottom shelf, it was pre-owned for the most part, but looked brand new. And it was called Mass Effect, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And he pointed that out, and I was curious about it because it was the complete edition. Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as you already know from this, why we're talking about this, yeah, I bought it.
You bought it and enjoyed it. So much so that you've kept with it even through Mass Effect Andromeda.
Which I also bought and pre-ordered.
You poor thing.
Yeah, as much crap that game gets, it's not completely bad. I can get past the animation errors and all that, but we'll get to that part later.
Okay, so you've played all 4 games, or have you just kind of perused through 1 or 2?
I have, because I'm one of those people that go for like RPG kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
If I buy, like, let's say I buy the 3rd game, and I find out there's more games before that, well, I can't really play those games without knowing the entire story.
No.
So that was me.
Gotcha. So you started with 1 and worked your way through. It's the same reason why I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 1 and trying to work through maybe not all of the Kingdom Hearts, just like
The important parts.
the important ones.
Yeah.
Which, sadly, considering the plot line, looks to be close to all of them.
Gosh.
It's terrible.
I haven't played Kingdom Hearts, so I couldn't tell you.
It's a fun game. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll save that another time.
Yes. Massive time you put in for 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Technically, yeah.
Okay. So within 7 days, it's just kind of an anniversary of.
Yeah, it's like a celebration of what Mass Effect brought to fans, and so many fans loved it that it was kind of unanimously designated as N7 Day.
Gotcha.
And
Is that because of anything specific on November 7th, or is that because the N7
it's
on
because
the armor?
N7. Because if you didn't know this, I looked it up when I got the game too. The original release date was November 20th, so it was still November. It was just a little after the 7th.
Just a little after the 7th. Not
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, but honestly, I was surprised I enjoyed a really... First game is very clunky, I'm not gonna lie. Because it was made in 2007.
Yep.
Which,
Which we've come a long ways from that in game developing. Games that were put out in the early and late 2000s are very different, and games that are put in late 2000s to early 2010, that era, are very different games, and then so on and so forth up to now we're getting up to 2019, and games are freaking huge.
yeah, considering that most of them are starting to get to the point of 100 gigabytes.
Yep. You really need to... Side tangent real quick. I really feel like games are focused on spreading themselves out, like bigger world, better world, huge.
As someone put it, it's the Skyrim effect.
Yeah. They really want to make that open world game because they have the ability to do that. But I do enjoy the games that come out that are actually like smaller and are more compact in their size. They might be large, like as far as size, but they don't feel large because they're actually full
Yeah.
of content and everything else, instead of something like what's an open world game that just is empty?
I would say Fallout 76, but we haven't played that, so...
Yeah, we'll have to see how Fallout 76 turns out.
Yeah, we'll try and test it once it gets out there. But, let me think. I want to say that it was,
Breath of the Wild was a little bit like that, but I felt like it was more in its adventurous state being open. And I mean, there are Korok seeds everywhere, but it was designed to be open to a certain extent, and it didn't feel like they just opened it up to make it larger. They didn't just make a huge world to make a huge world. They made a huge world because just the beauty of the large landscape that stretched from corner to corner was just full of beauty and different art directions. You didn't see like copy and pasted sections. It was a huge painted world across the way. which is why it didn't feel empty, because each individual location was different. And thinking about it now, No Man's Sky.
I haven't played that either, but I've heard all this stuff about it.
Yeah. I haven't played it, but I've talked to people who have, and it was very much excited because people were excited of the idea of a game that would procedurally generate to the point where it was good, as well as they were expecting a lot, and they got let down. Part of the reason being is that the worlds were very copy-paste. They had a list of things that could show up on a world. They were procedurally generated, and it didn't feel like there was a whole lot of love put in it. Like, there might have been a lot of work put in it, but there was not a whole lot of love and devotion, and it was kind of a jumbled mess.
Yeah, but you have to give that company credit, though, because they've stuck with it, and they have another DLC coming out with it.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that other stuff another time.
Yes, but bringing it back around full circle, Mass Effect has done a great job, from my understanding, of creating an open world that is still succinct. It was one of the first games that really used the dialogue tree, even though it uses it in a way that's essentially the game makes the choices, it leads you on a path, but it feels like you're taking that path.
Yeah, as Mass Effect is very famously known, the Paragon choice or the Renegade choice. And unfortunately, I'm one of those people who try to Renegade. A couple sessions later, it turned into a full Paragon again.
Just couldn't be mean.
No, I love the characters too much. The stories and all the things that come with it just branch out into things that make me want to be a hero. And that's kind of the focus of what Mass Effect did. Yeah. You play as a super soldier that is from the N7 program. This N7 program is the elite of the elites, genetically modified, yada yada. But nonetheless, you play as John or Jane Shepard. And starting from Mass Effect 1, you're trying to take down a rogue Spectre, the top notch of this alien race council.
Yep.
And ever since that plotline went on, it basically went full speed ahead. We're going to show you what we can give you. And given that I was able to play the 2007 Mass Effect version, ignoring all the graphics because they're pretty shite.
Fair enough.
What kept me going, at least, was the dialogue choices, the relationships you gained. As much as I hate to say it, I don't care for the human companions in Mass Effect 1. Kaiden's alright, but Ashley... What's a good example? I want to say a hardcore human who doesn't want to be racist, but is kind of racist.
Doesn't want to be racist, but it's a little racist.
Yeah, she...
Gotcha.
Yeah. I didn't care.
I am human. You are alien.
Maybe not that specifically, but she's...
I'm overgeneralizing.
Yeah, I know that.
But yes, the point is across.
But...
Does that continue on for games 2 and 3, or are there better human companions?
We'll get to that one.
Okay.
Sticking on Mass Effect 1, though, the next characters you would get for your companions on this eventful mission of yours is the variety of alien races that you can meet. You got the Turians, you got the Krogans, you got the Asari, you got the Canari. Wow, did I just forget how to say that? No, it's Canari.
I don't know. You're speaking Arabic
these
right now.
These you guys can look up because there's so much lore, so much information that they even have the Codex system, which BioWare, the company that made Mass Effect and many other RPG games, they are very fond of codexes.
Mm-hmm. Very fond of deep quotation marks lore and pulling a lot of things together to create. They're very good at world building. I should say that.
In the beginning, yes.
Eventually, they just start pulling things out their ass. But
that more shows in Mass Effect Andromeda.
yeah.
Like, once we get to Mass Effect Andromeda, it's going to be little understanding what BioWare is now and was, and so forth.
Yep.
But Mass Effect 1, you basically had Garrus, best friend of the cosmos for me. He's a bit of a hothead, but he worked for the police force of the Citadel, the main hub of all of the melting pot.
Gotcha.
Of alien races. But he was a police force, and he was trying to take the main bad guy, Saren, down because he even knew he was corrupt. Well, he wasn't able to get much and wants to join the squad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, heck with it. I brought him on. Next person you'd meet was a Krogan. Big old battle master Rex. He was made for fighting.
Yep.
And got horny toads. He's a little prickly, but once you get to know him.
Once you get to know him, once you get under that deep Krogan skin.
And we're talking deep skin. Because
you gotta peel him like an onion.
That just sounds nasty. I know where that's from, but it still sounds nasty.
Yes.
Which, fun fact, Krogan has basically every organ in their body doubled. And there's a clever way on how they brought this information on. Because in this game, there's a subplot that there's this thing called the genophage that affects the Krogan, and it basically takes their birth rates down to like 1%. And this was brought upon the Citadel because more lore. But anyway, there was a period in which the Krogan are trying to figure out how to take away this defect that they were given. And as Garrus once put, there is a black market deal to where if you believe hard enough, you can get certain procedures done. Well, there's one black market deal that came about, and it surprised me the way he said this, that a Krogan testicle is worth 10,000 credits. That's 40,000 credits right there. And when I heard this, I busted out laughing. Because then I looked it up, and then that's when I realized, oh, they got double everything.
They got double everything.
I think except
testicles included. Testicles included.
Yeah.
I mean, they are warriors. Double the balls, double the bravery.
And, yeah.
Double the testosterone, double the stupidity.
Well, they nuked their entire planet by themselves, so what does that tell you?
Yeah.
But either way, the next race you would meet was this all-time favorite of mine, Tali Nora Zoraya. Was her first name. Everyone just calls her Tali. That's all you need to know.
God.
But
That must be terrible in standardized tests.
it's easier later in the games, trust me. But it is a mouthful to write. But with the Canary, she was on her pilgrimage and came across this tech that basically showed that Saren was a bad guy. And we needed that information. And good old-fashioned BioWare's like, you know what, let's make her a companion too. Guess what? She's coming on the ship. But she's basically engineer, techie lover. Beyond the fact, she knows how to get past basically anything. And then you have the human companions, of course. Ashley, who was part of a platoon that was on the planet Eden Prime, the first place you get to go to. And her entire platoon got wiped out, and she showed enough usefulness to become part of the team. I never really delved too much into her because I did not like her, but there is some information. The next person was Caden. Caden, still a little bit of an asshat, but I liked him better. But he had a special feature of his that made him be able to use telekinesis. It's called biotics. You get into that.
Game mechanic that's added in partway through.
Which game mechanics, that's too much to get into.
Yeah.
And then later on you get the Asari, who, well, basically biotics, but she was an she was an archaeologist that was researching the Prometheans, ancient race who died before millions of years ago. Like, I know it doesn't make sense now, you guys. There's so much stuff that they put in the first game itself that is redonkulous.
It was a lot. It was a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
Ashley looks like she has a serious case of RBF. Like, I just looked up pictures of companions, and Ashley looks like she has a very serious case of RBF.
She's very military oriented. As far as my knowledge, she had a family that was in the military, so that explains a lot.
Yeah.
I think her father was in the war against the aliens at some point too, but I can't tell you. But that's basically the overview of the companions that you need to know about.
Yeah, look at that. That's some serious resting bitch face.
Yep. And I know there's actually fans out there. Don't get me wrong. You guys love her. That's fine. I don't, though.
Yeah. That was the picture I saw. Just her staring angrily.
That's in the third game, too. But basically, rundown overview of Mass Effect 1 was you go after Saren, you find out he's working under a being known as Sovereign, who's part of this race called Reapers. Try to stop him. You do. Depending on what choice you have for Renegon or Paragon, kind of decides the fate of what Saren does. And bada bing, bada boom. That is the shortest summary I can give you for Mass Effect 1.
And that's only one.
Yeah. Mass Effect 2 goes into other stuff, but you know basically what you need to know. They add a few races here and there, but you can find that out. But basically for Mass Effect 2, you work for this guy who's a human His name's the Elusive Man. You have to go find Reaper Tech because of these little assholes named the Collectors. Later down the line, you find out those guys are actually Prometheans who were mutated by these so-called Reapers. So now you know the Reapers are definitely bad guys. Then you beat the Reaper Tech that's about to be unleashed. Find out the Elusive Man's still an asshole.
Naturally.
Because the Elusive Man is all for humanity and making them come first over all the other races. Kind of Ashley's thing, but she's an asshole in that. No matter who you choose, Ashley and Caden will turn your back on you because you're working for the Elusive Man. It's not really explained thoroughly, and this is kind of when EA came into play.
Gotcha.
Don't get me wrong, Mass Effect 2 out of all the games is the best one. Almost anybody will tell you that. But once you get to that done, Mass Effect 2, you go on to the third game. And boy, does the third game hit a wall. Everyone knows the wall.
Yep. I don't.
The Reapers, the main bad guys, finally come into our galaxy. They start wrecking shit. And who you gonna call? John Shepard or Jane Shepard? Whoever male, female thing you choose. And the ending.
Yep.
Is boiled down to two choices. 4 if you have the extended cut.
So a game built on choices has only 2 to 4 endings.
Yes.
That's rough.
Believe it or not, I didn't know about the 4th choice until one of my friends who played it. I was like, I would have chose that!
That's better!
Because the choices you have is you control the Reapers or you destroy the Reapers.
Huh.
That's it.
That's it.
That's what the choices were.
Wow.
The extended cut, basically, you can morph with the Reapers, and everyone else
That's rough, buddy.
will turn into a combination of synthetic. Everyone will basically be cyborgs.
I gotcha.
And the 4th choice, you just go on.
You're just like, I'm not sure what to do here. I'm just gonna carry on with my life.
Yeah, and that's the main entire thing of Mass Effect 3 summarized in I don't know how long we've been talking. It is so much to unload, but there's so much lore that you have to go through.
Yep. There's a lot of lore. You jumped straight from 2 to 3, and I wanted to touch real quickly. There's a specific game mechanic that's known, that I don't know if Mass Effect started, but they definitely made popular, is taking something from one game and bringing your save data into the next game.
I want to say Mass Effect was one of the first ones, but even then I can't tell you specifically. Because I know BioWare, if you go onto their website and some button pressing here and there, they have it to where all the stuff that you've played that's BioWare is saved informationally. Whether you played Dragon Age, Mass Effect, whatever big game, they have all the save data put onto there. And you don't even have to play the games either. So that's how they keep track of all of that. But I think Mass Effect was the first one. Quote me if I'm wrong.
I don't know. Like I said, I knew that they made that mechanic popular, but I don't know if they were necessarily the first one.
Yeah, like, I'm not really sure. But other than that, that's about where it stops for the main trilogy.
And then Andromeda hits.
Andromeda hits.
Like a wrecking ball. Just comes in and does its thing.
It hits pretty hard.
I know a lot of people were excited, and a lot of people were also not excited.
Well, there is some information on that. Which, as of this date that we're talking, we basically know the entire story, what happened. Because remember a little while ago when you were talking about No Man's Sky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they were going to have procedurally generated worlds that you can go to. Well, that's what Mass Effect Andromeda was going to be. And when that fell and burned, when it crashed and burned No Man's Sky, the team that was working on that for Mass Effect Andromeda basically had to scrap that entire idea and dumb it down to a few worlds you can go to that are open world, which pretty fun, not gonna lie. But they had to scrap a lot of the stuff, and the time that they had was shortened to a degree to where they had to scramble and had to get deadlines done, because EA did not delay this release date. So everything was rushed. Everything didn't have time to fermentate, I guess you can say. So what you got was not only an engine that the team was not familiar with. It came with bugs, glitches, and it came with half-baked stories. The villain was very one-dimensional, and it just kept going down a peg, down a peg, down a peg.
Jeez.
Do I love it? Not all of it, but there are aspects in which I get that nostalgia. I get what they were going for. Animation errors? I don't care. It could look like Mass Effect 1 for all I care. And it happens.
Yep.
But there are aspects in which I love, and there's aspects in which I don't.
So it was kind of like a hodgepodge of whatever you do.
Kind of, yes. They try to make it to where it was an open world again.
Gotcha. But it just kind of fell flat. Maybe not flat.
It fell
maybe
short. It fell short.
Like a 45-degree angle.
A little bit.
Closer to that direction.
Yeah. And I don't want to harp on EA, but EA kind of screwed BioWare over.
They have a tendency to do that.
They do. I don't know if it's just the business practices that they want to do, if it's just internal debacles. It really does run down a lot of games. And Mass Effect fell victim to that.
Yeah. They fall victim to EA's greed.
But
Did Andromeda have microtransactions?
yes. So did the third one. Because EA wanted to implement multiplayer.
I'm sure that ended up well.
Believe it or not, the multiplayer isn't that bad. It just was not necessary. Because the way it pretty much worked in Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda is you go out on missions, you basically secure a point, kill various waves, And from there, it's basically about it. Andromeda expanded upon that, but they at least gave you a choice to whether you have it AI procedure that you had the computer do it, or you can do it yourself.
I gotcha.
I let the computer do it. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh yeah.
I got bronchitis. That's an oldie but a goodie.
But oh my goodness gracious. That's the download of Mass Effect though.
Yeah?
I know you were wanting to play it.
I've wanted to play it. Mostly just... It essentially boils down to it's a JRPG, and I like JRPGs. But it's so large. I like JRPGs, but I have trouble playing JRPGs because I want to do everything.
And it has a lot.
And it's got a lot. There's a lot there.
If I can give you some tips, if you're one of those people who don't micromanage, don't worry about resources that come up, that for some reason come up. Because there's resources that you use to make better equipment, better weapons, which is nice, but it's not necessary.
Yep.
It's not very prevalent in 1 and 2, but it's there.
Well, for me, with resources, I hoard resources because I want to save them for specific situations.
I hate to break it to you, but there is a weight capacity in all the games. Actually, maybe not all the games, but there is weight capacity.
I understand that, I guess.
We would get into the combat. We would micromanage the combat, but even that's in depth because you have to put mods on the weapons and the armor. And Mass Effect Andromeda actually kind of dumbed it down to where it's a lot more easier to manage. That's one of the good parts. They were able to simplify the micromanaging of the weapons and the armors.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I do like a deep JRPG though where you can customize all your crap. I mean, I like Monster Hunters, and that you can't fully customize your stuff, but pretty dang close to it. Because you can gem in whatever you want into your armor. That'll give you perks that'll kind of fit your play style. And I haven't played the more recent ones, mostly just because I've been so busy, but it's gotten more and more complex with fight styles and a whole bunch of other flim-flams and jimmy-jams. I like Monster Hunters for its complex combat, its monsters, its battles. Anyway, I digress. The JRPG aspects of micromanaging resources and doing all that does appeal to me.
Then you're gonna have loads of fun, that's for sure.
I really like doing it. I like hoarding stuff though, because I'm like, should I spend this now or should I wait and spend it on something else? Because I don't know what's coming up. I don't know what's coming next. There could be a huge weapon that I want to spend this on rather than decisions.
Well, the way they have all the Mass Effect games is you can either do it the normal way, where combat's balanced, you have to kind of manage your stuff, or you can do it the casual way. I know people are a little hesitant to do the casual way because it's too easy, the combat's just dulled down. But with casual, at least in Mass Effect 1 through 3, it takes more of a narrative approach. Which is pretty nice. And there are some challenges even in casual. But it does take more of a narrative approach. Now, whatever you do, don't do casual in Mass Effect Andromeda.
Is it just sad?
You'll hear epic music, and you'll see 2 robots. Your characters will be shouting, and it will be epic to these 2 robots that you fight.
It's just...
It takes the narrative approach. It don't take the combat approach.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's like a freaking dog combating a hamster, I swear.
just wow.
It's the casual is not very good combat-wise.
I can only imagine how just... Oh man, enemies ahead! Get ready! Thunk, 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 thunk. Like 2 droids from the Separatist army just walking out like...
You hear something?
No. You hear something?
I don't think...
Oh no!
And he just falls, yeah. It's basically what happens in that game.
Oh god.
So don't do casual if you want a decent balance.
Yeah. Wow. That's poor.
It has its moments, though.
Roger.
Oh gosh, but yeah, Mass Effect has its ups, it has its downs. You want to play it, and you're gonna find out what happens when you play at least 1 through 3. I have no idea if you are even interested in Andromeda, though.
Not really, no.
I don't blame you. It's not for everyone. And there goes my microphone. I'm back, don't worry.
We lost you for just a little bit.
Now,
Yeah, it's not for everyone, but
even Mass Effect, the trilogy, isn't for everyone either.
yeah.
But for me, it holds a place in my heart. And it kind of started me off on the sci-fi binge, believe it or not. Because I used to watch Stargate, SG-1. That was about it.
Yep.
There is a drought of sci-fi out there that not many people actually get on.
Yep. Not many people jump on the sci-fi gate. There's a lot more fantasy going on right now. High fantasy of olden fantasy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say that there was a heightened respect for it, like Doctor Who, Star Wars. But that's more fantasy, in my opinion. It's not with sci-fi. You have like deep down. This is what they are. This is their behavior. This is what the civilization does. It's more in depth.
Yeah. Things like Firefly.
Firefly, that's a good example.
Yeah. Because Star Wars is essentially just a space opera. And that's coming from someone who loves Star Wars. But even I would consider it does have its deep lore if you really look. Like, I could get lost on the Star Wars wiki. But the thing about it is that the main movies, at the very least, are very... how to put it? It's like taking a high fantasy adventure and putting it in a sci-fi setting. It's not a Firefly. It's not a Stargate. It's not a Star Trek.
It's honestly more business oriented. In a way.
I don't know if I'd say that.
Not that far?
Not that far. It does have elements of sci-fi that are pretty prominent, more in the offshoots, kind of like Star Wars The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels.
In the golden days.
Yes. Star Wars Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars The old comics, the old books. Oh my gosh. You read like some of the old books that were taken out of canon. Those got really into the sci-fi. Like, those were extreme sci-fi.
Mm.
But the movies themselves are very much, they're a space opera.
Yeah. Which, in all fairness, Mass Effect is actually a space opera too, but not in the effect of phantasmal spectacles. It has its moments, but it's not Star Wars fantastic.
Yeah, it's a little bit more sci-fi based, and it focuses on technology and the advancement of the human race and so on and so forth.
Relationships between aliens and such, that's important in there too. And that's kind of what sci-fi is really all about. I think a lot of people miss that. Sci-fi is more in-depth. If you want to go more broad, you might as well just do fantasy.
Yeah. Which
has its own merits.
Yes. And fantasy doesn't have any really specific settings other than Europe, generally, or some mythical land.
Mm-hmm.
But generally knights, maybe samurai if you want to go there. Different medieval sort of je ne sais quoi.
Just like in our D&D podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sci-fi focuses more on the technology, the extension of the human race, what's going on in the future, and it tries to delve into some geek talk without actually...
It goes pretty deep in there.
But it also goes deep in the fact that it's complete bull.
Mm.
A lot of it is not scientifically possible, but it's fun to imagine.
And the way they at least have it in Mass Effect is they do make it sound pretty believable.
Yep. The mark of a good science fiction is believable technology.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Frankenstein and look how popular that got.
Yep. I don't know. It's just, it's very different. They're different, but so similar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. So, going back to, kind of spinning back a little bit, you said you liked 2 the best? Mass Effect 2?
It's widely accepted that 2 is the best, yes.
Which one do you like the best?
It'd have to be 2.
It'd have to be 2?
Not just because I can romance with Tali, but there's other reasons.
So, what does make it your favorite? Just, is it cleaner than the first one, but not quite as whatever the third one is, and then it's not Andromeda?
I will say, from a geeky kind of standpoint, the graphics compared to the 2007, it was tremendous. And I believe this is when EA started coming around to acquire it. Their budget, I swear, was increased tenfold because it looked slicker, it looked cleaner. Save data went on just fine. And honestly, processing power and all that, it was tremendously upgraded. But the reason why I personally liked it, it expanded. Expanded not only on lore, but they expanded the world. You can technically go to more places, talk to more people, and they honestly were expanding is what they were doing. And the companions, let's see, you had Caden, Ashley, Garrus, Rex, and Liara. That was the Asari name, by the way. Sorry. You had 5 companions, right?
Mm-hmm.
They expanded on more.
They gave you more.
A lot more. And there's too many for that one to get into detail. But the characters that they have there actually increased the affinity I had with BioWare. Because it was, at this point, started realizing that there was some changes in the BioWare system.
Yeah.
World building, yes, they still had it.
Mm-hmm.
Character development, they hit the mark straight on. And with the amount of stuff you can do in there too, not only did they have a high sense of urgency, but they had consequences. Maybe not very effective, but if you don't do these loyalty missions that came with the companions, which was new for it, if you didn't do those loyalty missions, the suicide mission you have at the end, they might not survive. And there's even an option to where everyone, including yourself, will die. Game over.
Oof. That's rough.
Yeah, and it's very depressing.
Yep. But that's good decision making and good. It's a solid amount of. Sorry.
He just woke up, so give him some.
Yeah. It's a good amount. It's a good section of just character progression as well as dialogue tree progression of your choices actually matter.
And you got to know the characters even more.
Yep.
Which is always the best thing you can do.
Yep. And you really have to get invested to get the best ending you can. And
that was mandatory. That was the absolute mandatory thing.
Yep.
That you can't just be like, oh, well, we're just going to go do this and everything will be fine. No, there's huge consequences.
Yep.
And that's whoever...
Not only do you have to manage your time, you have to manage your resources. And you have to figure out what you're going to do, when, how, in order to keep as many people as you can alive.
Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of time to do stuff, but it gives you that sense of urgency. Because you have to go save these people.
Yep.
Ooh.
Alright. I gotcha. That seems like a good enough reason to like the second one.
Oh, it's by far the great reason. It's when you go into the third one, you start realizing that BioWare isn't much into storytelling anymore. Character development, they're always strong at.
Yeah.
But once the third one came out, it was apparent that world building they can do.
Took the wayside to gameplay and other things. And maybe that was just the culture of the time.
Might have been culture, might have been the company that they were under, because at Mass Effect 3 they were completely under EA.
Gotcha.
And that's when things started changing.
You don't want to say it's EA, but the coincidences line up a little too well.
A little bit. And I have a grudge against EA for multiple reasons. Mostly Mass Effect, but...
Yep.
Everyone knows EA's not the greatest gaming company. It has competition for being the worst, but it's not on list of being the greatest.
Yeah.
And there have been reports, there have been people talking that even with the debacle of Mass Effect Andromeda, it's not dead in the water.
Nope. They're still looking to possibly make another one.
Yes, there has been rumors that have been circulating that they are working on a new Mass Effect game. It's in development, like they haven't even started getting people to work on it, but it's in development.
Alright.
That's where BioWare is right now.
Gotcha. And you'll be jumping on that, of course. Maybe.
I will be more reluctant
than you were for Andromeda. You were excited for Andromeda.
I mean, the hoodie I came in today, Andromeda.
Yep.
I luckily didn't get like the little RC that you could have got.
Yeah. Yeesh. All right. Well, I think that was a solid bit of discussion.
That was a very long discussion. Apologize if you fell asleep. There was a lot to get into. All the final thoughts I can give you folks is, if you do enjoy character development or micromanaging resources or sci-fi in general, give it a pickle. See if you can get off someone else's game. See if you can't try it out for yourself, because it is something to look into. It's a journey that you can have fun, whether it's with the combat, with the characters, with the story even, or even the world. It's something that you just have to marvel at, in a sense.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And that, honestly, is my final thoughts.
All right.
Also, Tali is best girl. You can't tell me nothing.
I'll let you have your opinion. All right. In which case, we'll go ahead and sign off. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Bye.